what actually is this program about? Let me just give you a little bit of an insight into what I think it's about. If you want to get a truly high-performing organization, what I suggest that you need is a balance between two things. On one side, you need an organization that has a very clear vision. It knows what product or service it wants to deliver into what niche of the market. To enable it to do that, it needs to have the right processes, systems, the right strategy, the right priorities, all of those things that will enable it to deliver whatever product or service it has in line with its vision. On this side, you need individuals who've got the right skills, behaviors, and attitudes to be able to deliver whatever that vision is. And what you're looking for is a balance between these two things. And the balance is a little bit like a negotiation. So where you have an individual joins the organization and the individual's saying, right, tell me what my bit of the organization is. Tell me what it is that you want me to do. What is, if you like, what is my spoke in the wheel? Please give me the resources, the knowledge, the information, everything that I need, the training, the skills, but then please give me the freedom to do it my way. And the organization is saying, yeah, but we need to keep measuring you and monitoring and make sure you're going in the direction we want you to go in. And if we put changes in, we'll want to make certain that we can take you with us. So as we put in the new initiatives, we need to keep measuring you and monitoring you and make certain that everything that you're doing is in line with where we want to go. Now, I'd suggest to you that if you could get this balance consistently right, and I am assuming the vision's right in the first place, it would be impossible not to have a high-performing organization. So why is it that so many organizations are not high-performing? And I'd suggest it's because this balance goes out of kilter. Occasionally it goes this way. My experience says more often it goes this way. But let me give you an example of this way first. This is where you get organizations that make as a conscious choice that they're going to go out and headhunt the very best people in their field. They're going to go out and headhunt them, pull them all in, pay them massive amounts of money, huge bonuses, with the assumption that if they do a good job, they're going to make loads of money. Can you think of an industry recently that's followed that as a philosophy? Yes? Which one? Banking. Had a few problems in banking? Just a tiny bit. As some of you I'm sure know, they were actually selling products that some of them didn't even understand and had no foundation. Crazy. So what you then get is you can get that going out of kilter this way. In my experience, that is not the most common. The most common is what happens is that we're in a period of change. Recognizing that we are, in many ways, we're now in the age of information. There's things that people can find out about us that they probably couldn't before. In fact, there's nothing that they can't find out about us. So they're always going to be looking for the best product, the best service, the best deal, whatever that means for them. So what's true for us now is we're constantly in a period of change. So we're needing to constantly look to say, how can we improve our product or service? So typically what do? We look at the organization and we say, okay, we need to centralize, we need to decentralize, we need to restructure, we need to become leaner, meaner, tighter, faster, we need to get rid of people and become more effective in what we do. And all the focus is on the organization, how can we change it? And it looks logical and it makes obvious sense. So you now come to explain it to your people, and most people are intelligent. So they'll get it at this level. They'll understand it, it will make sense to them. How might they be feeling at this level? Because suddenly you're asking them to do things differently, in a way maybe they haven't done it before, in new networks that they haven't worked in before, and they've got comfort in their old networks. So suddenly you're asking them to do things in a way where they don't know that they can succeed. They know they were succeeding the other way. They've got the results to prove it, and they've moved up through the organisation. Now you're asking them to do it differently. How do you think they feel? Because feeling inside is probably, oh God, if I get this wrong, I could be out the door. If I don't make it work, I'm going to be putting my head above the parapet and exposing myself. So even though at a head level they understand it, at a heart level something different's going on. So even though they're wanting to do things differently, in many ways they're going to hold on to doing things the way they've done them before because they know it worked. And suddenly you think, hang on, we knew that this change would give us what we wanted, but it isn't quite giving it the changes we want. So what do? You put in more systems over here. Any of you had experience of this? As I'm talking about it, you're thinking, God, we've done this. And that's what we do. And we keep saying, what is it we can do here to become more effective? But what I'd suggest to you is what we need to be doing over here is something different. What we need to do is say, hang on a minute, how can we get people to fundamentally shift the way that they think? And how can we get them to take responsibility? Responsibility is the absolute key, and most people do not understand responsibility. Let me give you a generic example of what I mean, and then let me give you a real live one with one of our clients. Do you know any organisations that say they have a communication problem? A few organisations say they've got a communication problem. We know that. And if it's said loud enough and long enough and often enough, guess what? The consultants get called in. The consultants come in and they dig around the bowels of the company, and they come back and they give a massive report to the people at the top, telling the people at the top what the people at the bottom could have told them in the first place if they'd been listening, except the consultants get paid a whopping amount of money. And they say, guess what? You've got a communication problem, but we can solve it. Pay us some more money and we'll come in and we'll solve it for you. So they come in, and while they're there, you may see some change. I can guarantee that if you ask anybody 6 months to a year downstream what's changed, you'll only ever get one of two responses. Either nothing's changed or not a lot. So what you've got is a huge amount of money spent, and actually the change has been minimal. Have any of you got any experience of that? Any of you? You have. It's a pain in the butt, isn't it? And it just... It is. And they're going, oh God, more bloody bureaucracy. Here we go again. So it happens. Now let me give you a real live example, okay, with one of my clients. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you who it is on this occasion. And I just need to say now, if ever I give the name of a client and I'm talking about them, it's because I have their permission to do so. Otherwise, I don't ever give their names, okay? Anyway, this particular client is in retail. They've got a lot of shops all around the country. And they were getting a huge amount of complaints, massive amount of complaints, letters, phone calls, you name it. And it just boiled down to two things: filthy stores, and the people in your stores are bloody rude, indifferent, they don't give us the service that we expect. And this was happening all the time. Anyway, I sat listening to the top team, the CEO and the top team having a discussion about this, because it escalated to this level. And I was listening to it for about 50 minutes, and basically HR were getting beaten up. You know, how come that our training is inadequate and people don't understand what they need to be doing for customer service? It has to be our training is at fault, because otherwise people know exactly what to do. And what about our process and systems so that people understand exactly what a clean store looks like, what they have to do, what is expected of them, and so on. And I listened to it for about 50 minutes. And I sat there, and then I thought, I can't sit here any longer. And I said, hang on a minute, guys, can I call a halt here, because I really just need to ask a couple of questions. And they said, okay. I said, are you telling me seriously that you employ people in your stores who are so stupid that they don't know how to keep their homes clean? Is that what you're telling me? And they looked at me as I was a bit dotty, and they said, well, I'm sure they know how to keep the homes clean. Oh, okay. So can I ask you something else? Are you telling me that you employ people in your stores who are so stupid they don't know how to greet a new person who's visiting their home, who they want to have a great experience, so they want to come back another time? Is that what you're telling me? No, I'm sure they know how to do that. So why are you just about to put in processes, systems and training that tell them they're so stupid that they don't know how to keep their stores clean or how to treat people? Because that's what you're about to do. So what they were doing was they had a problem here, and they were putting systems in over here and training to deal with it. I said, that is not your problem. They know perfectly well how to do it. Your problem is they are not taking responsibility. And that was a real wake-up call for them, to say, hang on, here we go again, the same route, thinking we'll get a different result, and it isn't going to work. If they'd put in more training or more systems, can you imagine the reaction of people in the stores? Oh, what do they think we are, stupid? It would have actually had the opposite impact. But that's what they were about to do. And that's what we do so much of the time. So what we're going to be doing on these 2 days is beginning to say, recognizing, I'm not saying that's not important, it is, but what is it that we need to do here that is going to enable performance to improve? So we're going to do that. And we call it, when we can get the balance consistently right, integral performance. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Interesting, isn't it? How many of you in your organisations do you think keep doing this to improve performance, working over here? We do it, don't we? All the time. We keep doing this, thinking it will do it. And I'm not saying that you don't need to do it, so don't ever hear me say that. You may, but unless you do this bit, then I'd suggest that you've got a bit of a challenge.